Virtual worlds. Most of us remember that exciting feeling you had inside as a kid, logging on to the family computer after school and searching up some of the most fun and interactive websites to play. Some of the best memories we have are playing on websites like Webkinz, Club Penguin, Toontown, or Build-A-Bearville. But there were some online worlds that were a little bit more obscure, not as well remembered, or just didn't really last very long. My name is Maya Faith, and this is your dose of 2000s nostalgia. Today, we're going to be discussing one of those obscure nostalgic websites, an online virtual world called Millsberry.com. Flash games were online video games created using Adobe Flash. They were all over the internet in the early 2000s, and many kids and teens spent a lot of their time sitting in front of the computer and just playing them endlessly. Among these Flash games were games known as advert games, which were games that were used as a way to advertise a product to its audience. It might not have been something you really took notice of at the time, but back in the day, brands were subtly advertising to you while you were swept up in their addictive games or online virtual worlds. Millsberry.com was one of the most overly obvious of the bunch, with cereal boxes and General Mills mascots around every corner. But that didn't stop any of us kids from falling in love with this virtual world and enjoying every one of its crunchy and addictive Flash games that this website had to offer. The World of Millsberry was created by food manufacturer General Mills in 2004. General Mills is known for their cereal brands like Cheerios, Lucky Charms, Trix, Cocoa Puffs, and more. Pretty much anything that would let you know it's part of a complete breakfast at the end of the commercial. Before Millsberry was advertised to the world, General Mills would launch a website called You Rule School around 2001 featuring its cereal mascots. Each mascot had its own Flash games you could play online. Eventually, this website was replaced with the Millsberry website. While I'm not exactly sure what the reason behind this was, I wonder if the development team thought kids would resonate more with virtual characters that were kids instead of the General Mills mascots. Millsberry was a world where you could create a character that looked like yourself and explore a town you could feel a part of, while the General Mills mascots were a bit more hidden away in comparison. During commercial breaks around this time, Millsberry would be advertised on TV as this very vague online world where you could...
What is Millsberry.com? Playing, creating, collecting, growing, exploring, living.
Get your parents okay to go online and find out more on Millsberry.com.
Whatever that means. And notice how you don't see any cereal products in the commercials as well. You would never know that this website was owned by General Mills until you logged on. Regardless, the vague commercial was enough for a little Maya to be intrigued. Heading onto the website, you were immediately greeted with some Millsberry lore. Over the hill, there's a small city called Millsberry. It used to be a small town, but recently, Millsberry has grown beyond its borders. That's because we're all moving to town. Walk down the hill and you step into the outer neighborhoods. Just a little further, you'll walk into the center of town. If you want to become a citizen of Millsberry, you'll have to sign up. Having viewed the gorgeous two-dimensional views of Millsberry, you'll obviously want to sign up, right? Well, with your parents' permission, of course. You'll click the sign up button and start entering in your information to begin. Oh my gosh, putting in the year you were born and seeing that the latest year is 2004, that does something to me. Why are we so old now? After signing up, you'll get to create and customize your avatar, which is called your buddy on this website. You can change your eyes, hair, skin color, mouth, which some of the facial expressions used to creep me out for some reason. And you can pick your outfit, which was usually a basic shirt and jeans. Below your buddy, you'll see a couple of options like my stuff, my place, my links, and some stats showing how your buddy is doing. You'll want to keep your hunger, health, and overall happiness up, but truthfully, I do not remember what would happen if they got too low. Like, I'm pretty sure nothing would happen. Like, there wasn't a Dr. Quack that was gonna provide you with medicine like Webkinz. But if anyone does remember, please let me know. Now that you have your buddy, you'll probably want to move into your very own home. I remember you had the option to choose which neighborhood you would like to live in. If you want to see the town of Millsberry, there's a button that will lead you right to the map. You'll see the downtown sitting in the center with the neighborhoods Lakeview, Golden Valley, Westridge, and Ravenwood sitting around it. Metro Park and Peabody Park can also be spotted on the map as well. Each neighborhood has their own little differences and history that adds some charm to the area. Lakeview is near the water, go figure. Citizens who live here love to fish and water ski in the summer and skate and play hockey in the winter. The Lakeview description lets players know that most of Millsberry's trades come from the lake, and many of the families that live here are sailor families. Golden Valley is one of the most scenic locations outside of Millsberry, with forests and farmsteads surrounding the area. Golden Valley was the area that I always chose to move to when I played this game, just because it had gold in the name. I just thought it was so pretty. Westridge sits on top of Kings Hill, with family-sized houses and big backyards. There are also horse trails that line the roads, and you can always see someone on horseback there. And finally, there's Ravenwood. It's the oldest neighborhood with at least one historical landmark on every street corner. Apparently, some of its oldest buildings were lost in the Great Fire, and many of the families living in these homes are descendants of the city's original founders. It's also the neighborhood that's home to the spooky Red Lion Manor, a house in Millsberry that's rumored to be haunted. Rumored, they say. Once you choose your neighborhood, you're given an address to the home, which I assume is probably randomized for everybody. Clicking on the My Place button will take you over to your house. Each buddy has an exterior of their house with a mailbox, an inside and garden space. Clicking on the mailbox would lead you to the post office in town. Here you could send your friends a greeting card, and you could even attach gifts to them. You could decorate both the inside and the outside of your house using furniture items that you purchase with Mills Bucks. You could add specific rooms to your house like a bedroom, dining room, bathroom, and a kitchen. These would be laid out like tiles on your screen, and you could even add a second floor if you wanted. I remember my kitchen and bathroom being incredibly empty. I didn't really buy a lot of furniture for my rooms. I feel like I just had them to have them. You could also scroll right to left and see your neighbors next door. I could be wrong, and I'm honestly just going off of memory with this, but I believe the neighbors that you would see would just be other players online that chose to move into that town too. I don't remember if they were randomized or it was always the same neighbors next door, but I think you could go and like check out their house and see what their rooms looked like too. And I was always super jealous when somebody's room had a ton of cool furniture or trophies in it. You could also put up a sign to have a yard sale and sell off some unwanted items to make some Mills Bucks. So obviously you want to be able to buy all of this super cool furniture so you can show off how amazing your house is. That's when you'll head over to the furniture store. Where else am I going to find this insanely sick zebra print couch? I definitely would have bought that. If you want to keep shopping around, you had to head over to the clothing store. Studio T also gave you the ability to design your own shirt, which is a really cute idea in a game like this. I wanted to have the cutest clothes and hairstyle that I could possibly achieve. And I remember being obsessed with this specific skirt and legging pairing that I can't find anywhere on the internet now. I had to get it in a bunch of different colors, and it kind of just reminded me of Disney Channel, but it was trendy at the time, okay? I remember some of the clothes and accessories being a little bit odd, but it was so fun going through all of the options and trying to put something together. You could also get some new hairstyles at Tania's hair salon. Some other locations you could visit in the game were the grocery store. Here you could buy some different food to feed your buddy. It was cute because the website would try to divide up the food into different categories. It would teach kids about different food groups and having a well-balanced meal. The General Mills product placement was also all over the place, but I didn't care. I just wanted to buy my buddy some fruit roll-ups. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I remember the food going bad or getting spoiled after a while if you didn't eat it right away. That's just a faint memory I have. I could be wrong though, just take this with a grain of salt. The Honey Nut Cheerios greenhouse was used to teach kids about growing their own plants. Each week you could collect a new flower, find a bug and keep it, and also grow your own plant to place in the garden. I honestly do not remember this section of the game at all. It was most likely added a bit later when I had stopped playing the game, but this is a really cute concept. Even if Buzz, the Cheerios mascot, was there staring into my soul. There was the Millsberry Academy, which hosted a couple of rooms to visit. There's the hallway, the cafeteria, the classroom, academy lab, gym, library, and student store. Each location has a description and some flash games that reflect the theme of the room. Peabody Park was another spot you could travel on over to. I think it's so cute how much random lore the website drops about each location. It's just so cool to see. Like, this park was named after Mrs. Emily Peabody. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure she's a queen. At the park, you could buy some bait from Bobby's tackle shop and fish in the pond. There wasn't really any animation to the fishing or like a flash game or anything. You would just buy your bait and rod and hit the words cast line and see what you catch, which half the time ended up being a soggy boot. There were a lot of spots on this website that were really educational for kids. Was I spending a lot of time at these spots? Not particularly. 8-year-old me was like, learning is for losers. I'm kidding. But there were definitely places on the website that I would click on once, scroll through, and then just like never click on it again. I do appreciate Millsberry's efforts for trying to keep the website educational for its young audience though. An example of one of these spots is the museum, where the website shows you a display of different art pieces and important figures for you to learn about. It does have a little coloring section though for you to do, but it's overall just a little bit boring in comparison to some other parts of the game. The message is really cute though, as Millsberry points out that they just want to stir your soul, delight your senses, and captivate your imagination. That's just so wholesome to me. There were also places like the Bookends bookshop where you can purchase different books to read. There is a police department to visit, which teaches kids about internet safety. Could use a bit more of that today. The community center would educate kids on disaster safety. Your buddy could also head over to the Cause tour bus that would allow players to donate to good causes. You can also spot a place on the map called Grow Good Farms, which was released March 4th, 2009. Here you were able to make your own pizza, and for every pizza you made, 5 cents would be donated to Feeding America for each crop that was included in the making of the pizza. The more pizzas you made, the more crops would grow, and more plots of land would be unlocked. You would also earn special rewards here as well. Tricks Toys and Games was a location you could go to buy some toys, sports equipment, and Tricks cereal merchandise for your buddy. The Home Entertainment Superstore was the one-stop shop for all of your entertainment technology needs. Here you could also join a special customer rewards program, which gives loyal shoppers access to exclusive items. Millsberry really put so much thought into all of these little details to make the whole city feel lived in. The Career Center was a spot for you to check out what careers you may be interested in. It was pretty much a way for the game to give you some tasks to complete, like playing a specific game a certain amount of times. You could get millbucks by completing tasks, and you can also earn items doing these. The downtown entertainment complex was the hip happening place for citizens of Millsberry to hang out. Here you'll find a movie theater. I'm not really sure what you would actually do here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was just an area for them to roll product commercials. We saw something similar to that with the TV room in the Barbie website. There's the arcade, where you can play all of the Flash games that Millsberry has to offer. We'll get there in a minute. I'm sure you're screaming from the other side. And then there was a snack shop that was removed after a while and turned into an ice cream parlor. A Fruit Roll-Ups ice cream parlor? Fruit Roll-Ups and ice cream? Was that a thing at the time? I feel like I've seen people do that sort of thing on TikTok, but was this a thing? Found this Betty Crocker Fruit Roll-Up Scoops box online, so I guess it was. The dojo taught you safety tips about martial arts, and of course, you had to have the Pet Palace. What is an MMO without owning your very own pet? Whether it is a puffle or a doodle, it is a requirement in the virtual world. I do remember being a bit disappointed with the pets on Millsberry though. They didn't do anything. They would literally just sit there. They were kind of like just decoration in your house. If you wanted some unique antique furniture or to go digging for some treasure, the Colehurst house was the place for you. And if you were looking to spice up your house and garden, head on over to Peter's Construction and Hardware Emporium. Millsberry also had a bank for you to deposit and withdraw your Mills bucks. Mr. Oliver Wendelwart, the great-grandson of the founder, is the current bank manager. You could also collect interest. This is a really nice way to teach kids about saving their money. And last but not least, we have the Millsberry Gazette. This was where you could read about all of the new happenings in Millsberry. It was updated every few weeks with something new. It's fun to go through and look at some of these on the Millsberry wiki, so you could see all of the crazy things happening at the time that would make kids so excited to log on and play. The Gazette would also feature a Citizen of the Week, where it would show off one of the residents of Millsberry, aka one of the players online, with a description of where they lived and all of their interests. I remember being offended every time I came on, and my buddy was not selected for Citizen of the Week. As you can see, there were so many different locations for your buddy to go in Millsberry, but one of the most unfortunate aspects of this game was that there were so many places to go, but you couldn't get your character to actually move, walk around, or interact with anything. Your buddy was just always positioned on the left side of your screen, in the same place at all times, staring into the void. And it was a bit frustrating because I wanted to have my buddy go sit on the couch and watch TV or interact with the pet that I bought it. You also couldn't chat with any friends online like you could with other MMOs at the time. Your buddy is pretty much just an avatar and nothing more than that. As time goes on in the World of Millsberry, the website's developers would coordinate special games and events to keep the world feeling fresh and new. In July of 2006, kids could log onto the website and be greeted by a large crater that appeared in Westridge due to a meteor. Looking around, you could find a time ship hidden away in the woods with a young pilot who looks like they could use your help. You take note that the ship is missing some parts, so I assume that you as the player would probably help the pilot out by restoring the ship. It turns out the pilot is an intergalactic traveler named Janira, and after you help her, she returns to visit you again a year later. This is such a cute little side quest that they decided to create, and I'm sure it made so many kids excited to discover it. Overall, Millsberry did such a great job building out this town for kids to enjoy. They really worked to give every aspect of Millsberry a story and just so much character, allowing for you and your buddy to really feel a part of the community. Now, one of the best parts of the website, and probably what I spent the most time doing, was playing the Flash games. Also, do you guys remember these cute little loading screens that would pop up before playing the games? So nostalgic. There was an archery challenge where you had to aim your arrow and shoot down balloons before they float up to the treetops. Brickhouse Hop was a really random one. You help a ragdoll named Ragamuffin hop up an apartment building and avoid black cats and eyeballs and collect pies, and I'm a little confused. Also, Ragamuffin is kind of scaring me. Why does he look like that? Bumper Boats was a pretty memorable one. You would select your character and go head to head against your opponent, trying to bump the player out of the circle with your flotation device that was a fruity Cheerio. I remember seeing this lineup of characters and being like, who are you people? I really didn't pay enough attention to all of Little Millsberry characters as a kid, but I highly appreciate seeing all of them now. I also remember getting bored of this game pretty quickly because it always ran so slow for me, but I don't know if that was just a me problem or not. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Swirl was a game of chance. You move your little cereal piece in position and let it drop down, hoping it will land on a high number to raise your score up. Countdown was a math game where you could play as a rocket and solve math problems. Fruit Gushers Flavor Shock was a maze game. You use your arrow keys to move around to collect Fruit Gushers and their boxes and try to make it to the exit before time runs out. You'll also want to avoid these kids running around as well. This game is a near exact copy of another game on the website called Lucky Charms Charmed Life. The Lucky Charms version had some small differences though, with the charms that you collect having special abilities that could help you out in the game. Fruit Roll-Up Scoops was a memory matching game. They were really trying to advertise as fruit roll-ups and ice cream combo. I'm going to have to try it now. There was also another matching game called Millsberry Hide and Seek. Galactic Defender Adventure was kind of like a pinball style of game where you use your arrow keys to bounce these little asteroids around to defend the planets and the galaxy. Then we obviously have some Honey Nut Cheerio themed games. There was Buzzing for Water, where you have to collect buckets of water, avoid the wasps, and bring the buckets over to the hive. And there was Save the Honey, where you have to help Buzz lasso and rescue the golden honey, trying to keep it safe from the evil yellow jack. This really brought me back and made me remember commercials like this one.
They're stealing all the honey. All the honey nut Cheerios. Oh no, we gotta get it back. Hey, Yellow Jacket, slow down.
Why did they absolutely spam that commercial against our will? Hop and Drop was definitely one I played a lot. You can choose between 3 players to start: boy, girl, and Trix Rabbit. You have to use the arrow keys to jump on the gym cushions. These are gym cushions apparently. Each time you jump on one, it will disappear, so you want to hop around and clear them all before getting to the star. It's a pretty fun little tile game that gets more difficult as you go. There was a Horton Hears a Who game, which is such a random collaboration. I love it. I love that movie. It is a underrated masterpiece. It's a pretty straight to the point game where you play as the mayor, catching teddy bears in one bag for his kids, while also trying to avoid the bears knocking into the water. Kai's Ultimate Surfari was a surfer game. Choose a surf spot on the map and use your spacebar and arrow keys to paddle and surf. Millsberry 500 was a racing game where you select your driver and race against your opponents. They're even advertising Trick cereal in the sky. Logging on to this website and playing these games as a kid, I don't think it ever truly registered to me that the website was owned by General Mills or that the cereal brands were involved in the making of this game. Like, I remember seeing the cereal mascots and just thinking, this town really likes their cereal. Let me know what your thoughts were on this as a kid. Like when you logged on the website and you saw Lucky Charms and Trix Rabbit and Honey Nut Cheerios. What did you think of this? Did you just ignore it, move on with your day? I'm just super curious. Millsberry's Match Wanted is a game about robbers that have snuck into the Millsberry Bank, and you have to catch them before they steal everyone's Mills bucks. It's an arrangement game that honestly would have really confused me as a kid, and still confuses me now. Not only could you fish at Peabody Park, but there were 2 flash games that went along with the theme of the area. In Peabody Park Cleanup, you would have to run around and collect trash while avoiding these little cartoon squirrels. Peabody Park Halfpipe Competition was a skateboarding game where you choose your skater and try to perform all sorts of cool tricks for points. Reese's Puffs Cereal Snowboard Slalom is another one that I remember fondly. Choose your snowboarder and use your arrow keys to avoid trees and rocks while also doing tricks. You also want to get through this course in under a minute. I also played Rope Race a lot as a kid. It was a bit of an easier one where you would grab the rope with your mouse and drag it down to make your chosen character reach the top. I also loved Sherman Home Run Derby. I think I may have played this flash game the most. It's a simple click game where you choose between 2 characters, Maria and Bobby, who both have different strengths and weaknesses. Maria is quicker, but her power is average, and Bobby has more power, but has a slower swing. What are you trying to say, Millsberry.com? Girls can't have a strong and powerful swing too? I always chose Maria, of course. And you know what? I was getting home run after home run with her, okay? She is powerful to me. Sink the 3 was also a pretty fun basketball flash game. You have to try to click your mouse at the exact right moment to get the perfect shot. Slapshot Shootout was also one of my favorites. Apparently, I enjoyed more of the sports-themed flash games for some reason, which is not true to life. It's an easy enough game where you have to try to shoot the puck into the goal. Solver is a word game where you have to decode words using the scrambled letters you're given. Millsberry also had a Sudoku game using Lucky Charms cereal. Tricky Touchdown is a football game where you choose your character and run with the ball, avoiding the other football players, dodging obstacles, and trying to make it to the end to score a touchdown. Wave Blaster is a game that I could not find any game footage of, but I definitely remember playing this one. If I remember correctly, you would control Sylvie the sea serpent, and you would shoot waves of water to blast challengers. Sylvie was also a character in Millsberry that would sometimes make an appearance in the Millsberry Gazette. Speaking of the Millsberry Gazette, there was a flash game called Editor-in-Chief, where you would take control of the Gazette by managing your staff, choosing stories to cover, and keeping your readers satisfied. I don't have any memory of this one at all, but it sounds really interesting. There was also a black belt karate game that was quite an extensive one in order to achieve the black belt. I'm not sure if you could play this game by going to the arcade or if it was only accessible by going to the dojo, but it was a game of combat against a training dummy. I can't find any footage of it, but I feel like I remember being really bad at this one. I probably just didn't understand how it worked. You would also have to complete tasks for each belt. Like if you bought a camera and went to capture a picture of Sylvie the serpent, you would get an orange belt. Or after you achieved all of your other belts, you could grow a bonsai tree and earn your black belt. I definitely just did not understand how any of that worked, but it's a really cute idea. If you were able to achieve certain scores while playing these flash games, you could earn trophies, which were fun to show off in your house and flaunt in front of your friends. What was your favorite Millsberry flash game? Definitely make sure to let me know in the comments below. So as you can see, Millsberry had a lot of really great things to offer kids online. Not only was it a fun and educational space, but it was also free to play, which was not something we came by super often with virtual worlds at the time. More often than not, most MMOs had monthly memberships that we had to absolutely beg our parents to pay for during the 2008 recession. Millsberry was completely free, and you could just tell the developers who worked on this website really were passionate about creating a fun and inviting world for kids to play every day. It wasn't perfect. There was very obvious product placement everywhere, which can become a bit of a controversial topic when it comes to impressionable kids playing online, but I think overall it was pretty harmless advertising, and the website was dedicated to doing a lot more good for its young players. The community around Millsberry was so special, and there was something for everyone to enjoy. Kids spent time creating their houses and showing off their rooms on YouTube, or discovering cheats to make more Mills bucks. It was simple and nostalgic, and I loved it. So what happened to Millsberry.com? Sometime in the fall of 2010, the Millsberry Gazette was updated, announcing that players would be graduating and the website would be closing. A letter was posted as a thank you to all that had played the game and loved it as much as the developers did. Players were devastated, and they were writing emails and calling General Mills, just trying to convince them to keep the website running, starting petitions. I've even seen some petitions now. According to a post I found back in October of 2010, one player called in and spoke with the representative at General Mills and writes, "I asked why was Mills closing, and he told me the main reason was because subscription, participation, and play level had greatly decreased." Obviously, take this with a grain of salt, but that would make a lot of sense if that were the case. In 2010, virtual worlds were starting to slow down a bit in terms of the amount of kids playing online. Kids were getting a bit older, and we were entering a time period of apps and mobile games, which definitely contributed to the downfall of other popular MMOs in the 2010s. With Millsberry being free to play as well, I'm sure it was difficult for the developers to continue to keep the website going. Millsberry again left another note on the website on November 12th of 2010, stating, "We've received so many thoughtful comments over the past few weeks about Millsberry. We just want to acknowledge and thank everyone who has reached out to us with statements of support. Some have questioned our decision, but many have just been heartfelt expressions of appreciation for what we were able to create and build together in the community of Millsberry. To those who wonder whether every option was considered, we can truly say yes. We considered every option. This decision was very difficult because we very much wanted Millsberry to continue. Millsberry meant so much to so many, and it definitely means a lot to us. We are very proud of Millsberry's legacy, and we share your sadness in seeing it come to an end. It is our sincere hope that the ideals of our little town will live on in the communities that Millsberry fans will move on to and will create going forward, wherever that may be. We want to thank everyone for your statements of support and for the appreciation you have shown for all that Millsberry strive to be. Thank you again for sharing your thoughts and for being a part of Millsberry." With that, Millsberry added a going away yearbook to the website. Inside of the yearbook would be a picture of your buddy, your home, and description of your interests and personality. It also listed your favorite 15 items. On January 1st, 2011, Millsberry officially shut down. If you tried to go to the website, it was replaced with the same thank you note from Millsberry and also allowed players to download wallpaper, 6 instant messenger icons, and some printable keepsakes. I remember randomly my teenage self in the 2010s decided to type in Millsberry.com just to see how the website was doing, and I was greeted with this screen of the Millsberry characters and a small message stating that the game was closed. I had no idea, and it was so sad to see. This game truly meant a lot to so many people, and it's such a fun hidden memory for adults to reminisce on today. That is all I have to talk about today. Make sure to let me know if you remember Millsberry.com and tell me about some of your favorite memories of the game. I absolutely love to talk about nostalgic virtual worlds and unlocking all of those childhood memories we have hidden in the back of our subconscious. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more videos like this, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Come be a part of my nostalgic world where we can talk about all things 2000s. You can also find me on Instagram at MyFaithDraws. I also want to give a huge thank you to Memories of Millsberry on YouTube for preserving so much of the website for us to enjoy. Many of the videos in this video are from their account. Like, there was no way I would have been able to get any of that game footage if it weren't for that YouTube account. So make sure to head over to their page if you want to see some more Millsberry nostalgia. And also another huge thank you to the Millsberry Wiki as well. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.